Alright guys, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. I didn't ever think I was gonna get that far. I know you probably heard it before, the cheesy speeches or whatever. I'm not gonna give you a cheesy speech. I just want to say thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it. I didn't think anyone would watch dumb videos on the Loud House community or whatever on DeviantArt, but I guess there's a community or an audience for everything. So thanks for watching, guys, and for a fun 1,000 subscriber special, I thought I would do Requiem for a Loud, because it's another great fan fiction. I've seen a lot of fan arts for it, and I've just wanted to read it. Let's see how long this is. Alright, so we only got 27 chapters in this. That is actually nothing compared to the Loud House Revamped with its 2,000 chapters. So I figured we'd take a break from the Loud House Revamped, and for 1,000 subscribers, let's start Requiem for a Loud. I'll read this whole thing too, probably not in one video, but we'll see how far we get. So basically, let's read the little blurb here, because what I've gathered is Requiem for a Loud is about Lincoln being diagnosed with something, find out he's got a few weeks to live, and it's like this really sad stuff. So let's see. Lincoln, the only boy in the Loud family, is diagnosed with a terminal disease. The doctors give him just a few weeks left at best. How will an 11-year-old boy react when he finds out he'll die soon? And his sisters, will they be able to hold on after the emotional core of the family is taken from them? Or will they fall apart? Rated T for the feels. Too sad for kids. Bro, okay guys, I don't know if anyone's gonna start crying from Requiem for a Loud, but whatever. If you, I don't know, maybe if you, like, really resonate with the Loud House, you might, but we'll see. Oh, full summary, thank you. The Loud family never imagined what was about to happen to them. Lincoln, the only boy in a family with 10 girls, is diagnosed with a terminal disease. With nothing left to do, the doctors give him just a few weeks left at best. How will an 11-year-old boy react when he finds out he'll die soon? What's going to happen when his sisters find out? Will the family hold on to their emotional core being taken from them, or will they fall apart? A story of pain, lost, I think you mean loss, family, and a boy that must face humanity's toughest tests, accepting his mortality. Okay, guys, Jesus. Greetings, readers. This is a story I started drafting a week ago. I made a giant storyboard for this, and I was so immersed within the plot that I just had to start writing it. Usually I take my time before publishing, but this fanfic right here is something else, I can tell. About the story in general, there are two things I want to say before we start. One, I will not write Lisa's dialogue the way she talks. I just can't. I've read it that way and I've loved it, but it's not my thing. And two, I'm not even going to try and make clever jokes with Lou, and they're going to be plain stupid. Not so out of character, though. That being said, let's get started. Disclaimer, I don't own the Loud House or its characters. They belong to the rightful owner. Yeah, the kid toucher. Actually, wait, no, he didn't touch kids. He touched random people. But still. Okay, now we're starting off strong with Luckily, Luckily, with a Y, dude. Luckily, the neighbors were used to the big mess. It happened every time the Loud family went somewhere in the van. That Sunday morning, before they went to the park, it was the same as I take the front. No, you take the back. I want the window. This seat smells worse than Lana. Hey, nothing smells worse than me. I like this seat. The lack of space makes me feel like I'm in a coffin. Nice try, Luna, but I want the back seat, and I'll get it. You can't always get what you want, sis. If you don't back off right now, you'll end up like that guy who lost his left hand and left foot. Whoa, Lou, and that was way too harsh. Why? He's all right now. Why? He's all right now. Ha! Get it? You're not even trying, are you? It was a sunny day with a radiant blue sky, no clouds in sight. The warm spring breeze, dude, if there's a typo, and I know it is, I'm not going to read the typo. The warm spring breeze came along with the soft smell of flowers and grass, inviting them to have fun outside. Nothing in that warm, happy day seemed to foreshadow the terrible storm that was about to land upon the Louds. Jesus, wow, that's some metaphor. Christ. Lincoln was sitting on his house's entry, watching his sisters practically fight to death for a good place in the van. He remembered with a smile just a few weeks ago when his plan to get the sweet spot had completely failed, ending up in a similar situation. His sisters hadn't fully forgave him for trying to cheat him into that, so he decided to stay out of it until they settled down, and he would just occupy the remaining seat. That way, he was avoiding any trouble. Besides, he wasn't feeling well. He'd been feeling really tired for about 2 days, getting agitated for even the smallest effort and having a strong headache. He assumed it's because he wasn't sleeping well, at least, so he shrugged it off. Still, any fight he could avoid? Lincoln! Yelled Lola, creating a hiatus in the female hecatomb. Oh, that's an awful word to say. That hurt my mouth. Why are you sitting there all alone? Did you find a new sweet spot? Accused him Lana. No, not at all, he said hurriedly, seeing his sisters rapidly approaching with hostile intentions. You okay, dude? Asked Luna, noticing he wasn't as energetic as always. Yes, I'm okay. It's just, well, Lincoln, what is it? Said Lori impatiently. He said, I thought you were all mad at me about the whole sweet spot thing, so I decided to wait for you guys to get your seats first, and then I would just use the last one. The Loud siblings looked at each other. Lincoln has selfish moments, like that time he built a pool just for him, but in the end, he was always the one that cared the most about siblings. Somehow, listening to him say he didn't want to fight helped them realize just how absurd it seemed to be fighting over such a stupid thing. Come on, Lincoln, let's get in the van before Mom and Dad get outside, said Lori, approaching his brother to take him to the van door. But how are we going to be sitting? He asked. All of you make a line from youngest to oldest and get in the seats from the front to the back, she quickly instructed. Without arguing, everyone made a line and started getting inside the car, starting with Lisa. Lenny, sighed Lori. Yeah, asked the... Oh my god. You're always starting off with the stupid random adjectives, bro. Yeah, asked the blonde with a big smile, bro. It's giving, again, Beagle Prodigy said through the phone. You're the second oldest. Yes, I am. That means you go after everyone else, she said, moving... Okay, she said, moving to the end of the line, allowing the twins to enter. Lucy went after, but before Lincoln could get in, Lori stopped him. Lynn, would you mind going in now and leaving the sweet spot to Lincoln? I think he earned it, just this once. But Lynn stopped halfway through the sentence as Lori glared at her. I mean, of course, brother, you deserve it. After hugging him and gaining a nod from Lori, she jumped in the car. Lincoln put one step inside and turned to look at her older sister. Thanks, Lori. Don't mention it, twerp. Literally, never. After that, the rest of the girls got inside just in time for the parents to come out of the house carrying Lily. They entered the van, and after securing the baby in her seat, the father turned on the edge. You know what, kids? You must have broken a record today. I can't even finish putting on my shirt when you stopped fighting. Usually it takes your mother and I about 15 minutes to calm you down after we get to the car. And you would have taken longer this time, excitedly, said Lana. It was a slaughter. But then I saw Lincoln all sat on the entry, and then we stopped fighting, Lola added quickly. So it actually is thanks to me that everything ended so fast. You can thank me later. What happened, Lincoln? Asked Mr. Loud, looking at his son through the mirror. Lincoln was about to answer, but Lucy spoke first. He made us realize how pointless and vain our dispute was, just like how everything we do in our life, it's innocuous, for it does not change our final destiny. Death. Too dark, sis, said Luna. Lucy's right about the first thing. The second was literally too weird. Lincoln didn't want to fight with us for a place in here, so he stepped aside. And it made us realize how dumb the whole thing was. The parents looked at each other, surprised what Lori was telling them. Wow, Lincoln, that was really mature, said Miss Loud. Thanks, Mom, said the boy with a smile. I mean, maybe you're ready for the grown-up table after all. No, he's not, replied the 10 sisters in chorus. Thanks for the support, sarcastically, said Lincoln. Lincoln said sarcastically, why does he keep putting the adverb thing or whatever before what? That's not how you do it. If I'm not in the grown-up table, it's just because I don't feel like giving up dessert yet. If I actually wanted to be there, I could totally do it. Lincoln, it's clear you're not ready for to go to the grown-up table, said Lynn with a sense of superiority. That's enough. No more arguments till we reach the park, finally said Mr. Loud. Mr. Loud said finally, ending the discussion. While the chaos inside the van started to appear, with the twins fighting each other, Luna with her headphones at max volume, and Lynn was looking for an excuse to hit him, Lincoln began to think about what his sister said. It was the truth. He made everything to get in the grown-up table, and the episode had ended up bad. What? But it was really because he sabotaged himself. Acting all grown was really boring. Oh my god, of course they had a cliche episode like that, where the kid wants to be grown up. Dude, I swear. He preferred the jokes, the yelling, and even the food fights he had at the little kids' table. He didn't want to quit those things. Why rush having to get to the grown-up table? He was a kid after all. He would have time to grow up. The foreshow? Stop! He would have time. Oh my god, the unanimous, ominous, Christ. The ominous, oh my god. Fortunately, they got to the park in a few minutes. While their parents took Lily to the nearest sandbox, the rest of the children started drifting apart. Lisa found an anthill and started taking notes on the ants' behavior. Lola and Anna went to the side and swings, trying to get along with the rest of the kids' rights. Lucy looked for a lonely place where no one would bother her while she wrote her dark poems. Lynn started running with her soccer ball until she found a couple boys playing MASH and decided to join them. Luna started playing her guitar on top of a bench with a couple people watching her, and Lewin decided to record everything in case something funny happened. Like Luna stage diving right into the ground. Lori and Lay sat under a tree. While Lori's busy texting with Bobby, Lane found herself surrounded by a bunch of boys trying to impress her and get her number. What in the character AI? Dude, Jesus Christ, that's me in character AI, bro. I literally pull everybody. In real life, I pull no one, but, you know, in character, I pull everybody. Oddly enough, Lincoln found himself alone, with no sister trying to get him to do anything. A little taken aback from that fact, he decided to take advantage of this by doing what exactly? What were 11-year-old boys supposed to do at a park with no one to play with? Bored and without a clue about what he should be doing, he decided to start walking, looking for something to do. He spent the next hour walking, but he didn't find anything to do. He toured the whole park, trying to avoid his sisters, until he found a lonely tree whose branches were perfect to climb. Usually, he wasn't the climbing trees type, but he was so bored and the tree looked so tempting that he decided to do it anyway. So he climbed the tree, and once he reached the top, he rests his head against the trunk and watched between the leaves. It was really quiet in there, sitting beneath the shadow of the oak, being able to see everyone while hidden from them. As his headache returned, it was starting to hurt more often, he thought. He decided to close his eyes and relax. He didn't want to fall asleep, but he found a comfortable position where he managed to relax himself. Still, he wondered why he was the only one who could find nothing to do at the park. All his sisters had found their place within seconds of arriving. Lisa, Lucy, and Lori maybe enjoyed more being alone undisturbed, but the rest had managed to get along with people that they didn't even know without even trying. A feeling he was lately trying to ignore to calm his mind. An awful sensation. He was the only one who wasn't good at anything in his house. Stop, why is Lincoln being relatable? Holy crap. That incident with the trophy case was still in his mind. All their sisters were good at something, even though the case wasn't empty now. The trophy was just a gift from his sisters, so it wasn't real. Perhaps, after all, he wasn't good at anything. Stop, bruh. Lincoln is actually being real. He suddenly heard a thud and felt the tree river. He looked down and saw a soccer ball bouncing on the ground and a girl picking it up. Stupid boys, said the girl, kicking the ball once again against the tree. Who needs them anyway? She picked up the ball, but this time she held it against her chest and reclined herself against the tree. Lynn, said Lincoln in a whisper, so she couldn't hear him. She looked pretty sad, sitting with the ball against her chest. Lincoln was sure he had seen her playing with a group of boys around her age. Was the game over already? Had they fought? He thought about coming down and trying to talk to her, but he wasn't sure that was the best idea. I don't need them, muttered Lynn. I don't want to play with them either. I can do it alone. He sensed the sadness in her last words. He knew how much his sister tried to keep her tough girl appearance, so for her to sound this sad, this had to be some pretty big deal. He just finally decided to talk to her, since he didn't want her to find out that he'd been listening. He climbed down by the other side of the tree, trying not to make noise. He finally positioned himself behind Lynn, who wasn't aware of her brother's presence. Hey, Lynn, he said at last, hearing his sister. Ha, two for flinching. Hey, she complained, smiling at the weak punches he was giving her in the arm. That's not how it works. You can't just Lucy out of nowhere to scare the other one. Whatever, why aren't you playing soccer, he asked, knowing that he could hurt his sister a little. Indeed, Lynn's face shadowed a little. I was playing with some boys, but they kicked me out. What? Why? Boys don't like girls being better than them in sports. Bro, what the stereotypes is this? She slowly said, looking straight to the ball in her hands. Even in school, they always tried to avoid me. It's not my fault to be this good, you know. If they trained as hard as I did, they'd be good as well, and they wouldn't be afraid to play with me. You notice how sad his sister seemed to get, and decided to intervene. Why did they keep using her for Lincoln? Was Lincoln a woman? And decided to intervene. Well, if they don't want to get an up-close lesson on how to play soccer, it's their loss. Who needs them anyway? Lynn looked up with a shy smile on her face. Thanks, Lincoln, but some sports are meant to be played by more than one person. That's what I'm here for. The big smile Lynn gave Lincoln made him feel really happy. You mean it? Of course. Let's kick it up, shall we? Lynn stood up and kicked the ball forward. Lincoln once again began thinking about his lack of abilities and his almost empty case. Perhaps, after all, he was good at being a brother to his sisters. He really liked that thought. He liked feeling he could make his sisters happy. Perhaps he wasn't as useless as he thought he was. Okay, well, now he's not relatable. He started playing with Lynn, chasing her around the park, trying to get her and steal the ball. But she was very good, fast, and skilled, so he could barely keep up with her. The very few times he managed to steal the ball, he could only keep it for some seconds before he lost it again. Even though he didn't have his sister's stamina, all these years helping her practice and doing their thing, he could usually keep up for about 20 minutes before getting tired. But that day, a little after 10 minutes, Lincoln stopped, barely being able to stand up. His heart was beating incredibly fast and strong, like it was trying to escape from his chest. He was breathing hard, not being able to recover from the effort, and his head was killing once again. He couldn't believe he was this bad after only 10 minutes. Alright, Lynn, you win. Can we play something more? Still? You gotta work up, bro, she said while doing tricks with the ball. Stay right there. Let's practice long passes, okay? Okay, you go while I try to catch my breath. Lynn walked away about 30 meters before preparing the ball. Here goes. With a strong kick, the ball went up in the air, landing right in front of Lincoln. Since stopping the ball was his great weakness, he cheated and tried and used his hands to catch it. Lynn yelled something about not being practicing for a goalkeeper, but he could barely listen to her. He was feeling dizzy, although it was a strange sensation. It was like everything started moving in slow motion. He could still feel his heartbeat pounding his chest. like his heart didn't know he was running anymore. Come on, kick it back! With a lot of effort, Lincoln managed to kick it, but he couldn't give it as much strength as he intended to do. The ball hadn't even left the ground. It slid all the way to Lynn, who stopped it with her soul. He saw that she was saying something, but he didn't even hear it. He took a hand to his head, which was hurting him almost as bad as his chest. He didn't remember ever feeling so much pain, and yet he wasn't able to react properly. He was standing still, his gaze lost completely dazed. He saw Lynn kicking the ball. He watched it getting nearer and nearer, all in slow motion. He knew it was going to happen way before it did, but he couldn't even think about dodging it. With a thud, he fell backwards on the ground, the ball bouncing right next to him. He felt some sore in his forehead, but was indistinguishable from the overall pain he was feeling. He couldn't even move anymore. All he could see was the blue sky and some trees in the background. Link, you okay? He heard before Lynn's face appeared in front of him. She looked forward. Lincoln, you're bleeding. You hear me? Lincoln? It seemed that Lynn was shaking his shoulder, but he couldn't answer. Everything was becoming blurry. Why's your nose bleeding if it hit you on the forehead? Lincoln, why aren't you answering? She said, shaking her. Lincoln! Lincoln! Lori! Luna! Somebody help! Someone came in a rush, but he wasn't able to see who it was. Everything turned black, and he quickly passed out. Christ, dude. That is insane. My gourd. Oh, English is not your first language. Oh, I see. That's why. Okay, I'll excuse you then. At least you're not just an actual idiot, because some of these people, you can tell that English is their first language. They're just kind of bad. So, I can excuse it. It's fine. I guess I'll read this one. Let's see. Chapter 2, An Unnerving Waiting. Generally, the loud sisters in silent places didn't get along very well. Even by definition, they were quite opposites. They were young, energetic kids whose lifestyle had turned them very noisy. They rarely found themselves without anything to do, and their activities tended to attempt against peace wherever they were. That partially explained why they felt so bad. So many hours sitting there, having to whisper without anything to do but wait, was affecting them. However, they were mostly affected by the fact they were in the hospital's waiting room with no news from the doctors. Lori checked her phone, 3:45. They had arrived at the hospital almost 5 hours before. Apparently, Lincoln and Lynn were just playing soccer, and when he got hit right in the head by the ball and then fainted. He fainted. When she couldn't wake him up, Lynn panicked and started screaming for help. Some people in the park gathered around to help her, and they quickly called an ambulance. Where were the parents, bro? I thought they were at the park, too. Lola and Lana saw a small group of people that seemed to be looking at some accident, so they went there to hear about it. When they found it was Lincoln, however, they ran to their parents, separating it so we'd find the... Yeah, exactly. I knew they were there. I thought that was, like, gonna be a freaking mistake, but I knew they were there. Lori was trying to keep Lenny away from some attention desperate punks when she saw Lana. The little one was running and screaming for her parents. She was crying too. Worried, the oldest allowed something went to her. Lana, what happened? She asked, looking for an injury. He's bleeding, and he won't wake up. Her parents were there with Lola and Lisa trying to calm down a hysterical Lynn. She was trying to tell them what happened, but the crying and mumbling made it impossible to understand her. A moment later, Luna, Lucy, and Lewin arrived, having seen the commotion at the park. The 10 sisters were all scared and deathly worried. Their parents weren't much better, but they tried to calm them. Fortunately, an ambulance came really soon, and they took Lincoln immediately to the nearest hospital. As soon as they entered the hospital, time slowed down. Every minute became a little eternity. Almost an hour after they arrived, the doctor finally approached to tell them how Lincoln was. The poor man quickly found himself cornered against the wall with the 10 sisters surrounding him, asking about their brother's condition. Lisa even took his notes and started reading the test results herself when Mr. Loud called them and made them leave the doctor alone. Being able to breathe again, the doctor explained that Lincoln was stable but anesthetized. I don't know how to... I know it's anesthesia, but I don't know how to say anesthetized. Dude, whatever. They were yet to discover the cause of the fainting, so he asked permission to run some more tests. The parents agreed and asked when they would be able to see him. He told them they needed to wait for this to be completed, the drug effects to be worn out. It would take a couple of hours. So the Loud family made themselves comfortable in the waiting room and waited. 5 long hours of silence, of being worried to no end. Lori looked around. Lenny was watching herself in a pocket mirror, but her mind was clearly somewhere else. Luna had her arm around Lynn's shoulders. Lynn was hugging her own knees against her chest. Luna and Luna were trying to cheer her up, but they were downcast as well. The latter hadn't cracked a single joke since they got there. Lucy was holding one of her vampire novels open to the same page for about half an hour now, while Lisa was enlisting out loud all the possible causes of Lincoln's fainting and the respective treatments. The twins, meanwhile, were still scarred by the image of their brother's unconscious face covered in blood. Willow was resting her head on her sister's shoulder, not caring that her hair was right next to Lana's dirty cap. Bro, talking about the dirty cap, Jesus Christ. Lori sighed and checked her phone again. 10 to 4 and 5 new messages from Bobby. He wanted to know how everything was going. She told him they still didn't know anything. He texted a sad moan and told her he could get out of work and come to the hospital soon. He also told her that Ronnie and Zuri were, and she wanted to visit Lincoln too. She was about to tell him it was probably not a good idea when the same doctor from earlier came out from a door. They all got up right away, but their father stopped them before they did anything. He approached the doctor with his wife. So, doctor, any news? It's probably didn't call him Doc, bro. They always do that. Okay. Well, we're still not sure what brought him here in the first place, but at least we know it's not an infection. That's good, right? It could be. He's reacting well to the medication, and that's always a good thing. It's still too early for a blood test to give us anything, but we'll soon have the CT scan ready, and hopefully we will dismiss more serious conditions. Okay, said Mr. Loud, hugging his wife. How is he? That's why I came here. He woke up a few minutes ago. He was still pretty confused, but I was able to calm him. He really wants to see you, but he's really tired, he added, looking askance to the daughters. What? So maybe we're better if we don't, if we could. Keep the girls quiet and don't disturb him. Help Miss Loud. Yeah, that's right. Yes, that's right. You can see him, but carefully and quietly. Alright, thanks, Doctor. The medic went back to the door waiting for the last fellow, but before that, Mr. Loud spoke to his daughters. Alright, girls, pay attention. We're gonna go see Lincoln, but if even one of you raises your voice or does something that could upset or bother him, you're all getting kicked out of the room. Got it? Yes, sir, they all answered. And he's probably gonna be really tired, so take it easy. Try not to disturb him. Don't hug him too tight. Don't touch anything, added Miss Loud. Once they all promised they would behave, they passed the door and finally made it to the room's wing. They followed the doctor through the long hall like the bad Wimpy Kid movie, with the doors on both sides. The girls were desperately looking for Lincoln's room. They feared the doctor would miss it. They looked through every open door, and as they kept going, they felt more nervous. The endless hall was extremely silent. Their steps were sounded on the walls, interrupted only by the occasional chat between nurses carrying medicines and medical equipment. They passed by a lot of occupied rooms. Some of the patients looked actually happy watching TV or reading a book on their beds, but there were others who looked like they were in pain or terribly tired. Lori prayed for her brother to be okay. Here we are, finally, said the doctor, stopping into the room. Hey, fella, found someone in the hall. I think they'd like to see you. Come on in. The family entered, and Lori let out a sigh of relief. Lincoln was sitting on his bed, a warm smile across his face. If it weren't for the bandage on his arm from where they took the blood sample, probably, and the fact that he was wearing a hospital gown, he could just be hanging on his room's bed. What? Mom, Dad, he excitedly said, getting up from bed. Lincoln, what did I tell you? Asked the doctor, frowning. The boy sat down once again, with his feet dangling from the side of the bed. Then I shouldn't get up, he answered, a little embarrassed. That I shouldn't get up. Oh, my God. He answered a little embarrassed. Oh, honey, said Miss Loud, getting close with Lilia on her arms. I'm glad to see you well. How do you feel? Asked Miss Loud. Great. My head's not hurting anymore. He told me he's been having very strong headaches lately, along with some sleeping issues. Were you aware of this? Asked her. What? No, we were not. Lincoln, why didn't you tell us? I don't know. I thought it was nothing, he said, but nervously playing with his fingers. I guess I didn't want to worry you about nothing. What? It's Southern... Lincoln, you need to tell us these kind of things. We will judge whether it's worth worrying over or not, said Miss Loud. We will judge whether it's worth worrying over it or not. What? Said Miss Loud, trying to keep Lily away from grabbing Lincoln's hair. The words sounded a little more stern than she intended, and Lincoln looked down. Mom, don't lecture Lincoln, intervened Lori, getting closer to her, but Lincoln with her relieved smile. Hey, Link. Hey, Lori, he cheerfully said, you look tired. Well, it's been a long day. Lincoln was about to say something. He felt someone pulling on his robe. When he looked down, he saw both Lana and Lola looking at him with watery eyes and turned lips. Are you going to be okay? Asked Lola almost inaudibly. Get well soon, Lincoln, please, said Lana, hugging her older brother's leg. He gently caressed their hairs. What he caressed, trying to comfort them. The doctor excused himself and left the room, leaving the family alone. Girls, don't worry. I'm okay. Your big brother's going to be okay. You don't need to be worried. Well, we all are, bro, said Luna, stepping closer too, and we're pretty scared, you know. Oh, guys, I'm sorry. Wait, Lincoln's sorry? What did he do? Asked Lenny, confused as always. I believe our brother is expressing an unjustified and exaggerated feeling of regret that comes with the sort of guilt for making us, his blood relatives, to be worried about the lack of certainties regarding his post-traumatic and fainting state of health. Tried to explain Lisa while adjusting her glasses with her right index finger. Jesus Christ. Son, you don't need to apologize for anything. It's not your fault. Assured him a Mr. Loud. So Lincoln's not the only one feeling guilty over something they shouldn't. Lincoln's not the only one feeling guilty over something they shouldn't, said Lucy. Lynn's like that, too. Everybody turned to see Lynn. Indeed, while the rest of the girls had stepped closer to the bed's bed, Lynn was standing against the wall with her arms crossed over her belly, like she was unconsciously hugging herself. Lynn, asked her mother. Lynn, you didn't have anything to do with this, assured Lincoln. You know that, don't you? She looked at the floor, biting her lower lip. Luna moved closer and put a hand on her shoulder. Lynn, I'm okay, really. Please don't feel bad. The girl continued staring down for a few moments, then she violently pushed Luna's hand away from her and started advancing toward Lincoln, frowning with a clenched fist. Both Lincoln and Lori immediately recognized her body language. It was the same she always used when she was about to punch someone in the face. The older sister tried to step in the way, but her mother stopped her. Lori looked at her confused, but Miss Otsuki smiled and signaled her to watch. Lynn stopped right in front of Lincoln, with the twins hugging his leg, looking puzzled at their sister. She stood still for a few seconds. Suddenly, she jumped at Lincoln. He really thought she was going to pin him down, but he ended up utterly surprised when he realized she was just giving him a hug. Very tender, soft hug, which was totally out of character for her. Before he could react, Lori hugged him too, then Luna, then Lenny. Soon he was surrounded by his sisters, being in the center of a group hug. They stayed like that for a few minutes, with their parents happily watching. Girls, let Lincoln breathe, will you? They stepped back a little, and after finally taking that load off, they all seemed more relaxed. They took some plastic chairs they found in the room, and some from the empty room next door, and sat around his bed, trying to initiate a conversation. Even if they were keeping their promise of keeping their voices down, they all wanted to talk with Lincoln, and he couldn't understand not even one of his words. Girls, calm down. The doctor said it's going to be a while before we get the results. There's no need to hurry. Lincoln clearly saw Lewin opening her mouth as if to say something, but she quickly closed it. Lewin, you want to say a joke, don't you? Oh, no, she said, even though nobody's buying it. I mean, this isn't the time for jokes. Actually, I'm pretty bored. I could use some comic relief, he insisted with a smile. Come on, Lewin, make it fast, said Lori. Sensei insisted. Lewin stopped containing her. Well, Mom and Dad are right. There's no need to hurry. We just gotta be patient. There was a small silence after the proposal, which was something Lewin was used to. She wasn't ready. What she wasn't ready for was seeing Lincoln closing his eyes and his chest spasming. Christ! Lincoln, are you okay? Asked Lynn, worried about the possibility that he was getting agitated again. He covered his face with a hand. His chest was definitely convulsing now. Lincoln, what's wrong? And he finally looked up, smiling. Patient, he repeated before he started to laugh. Oh, wait. Oh, he was laughing. I thought he was, like, having a seizure. Jesus Christ. I thought he was having a seizure. Holy poo. Patient, he repeated before he started laughing. They all watched him dumbfounded for a few seconds before Luna started laughing too. They all looked at each other, and one by one they all laughed louder and louder until they were all hysterically crying. The parents were watching all this, and the image would stay printed on their minds like a port. It was going to be, after all, the last time their whole family was having a good time. Oh my god, the foreshadowing. They continued to talk for a long while until the room's door opened and the doctor entered with various notes and what appeared to be a radiography on his hand. The girls barely contained themselves from jumping against the door once in. Excuse me, could I speak with you privately, Mr. and Mrs. Loud? Yes, while saying that, I said, sure, we'll be right back, sweetheart. Miss Loud told Lincoln before giving Lily to Lori and going out of the room with her husband and the doctor. Naturally, as soon as the doors closed, all 10 sisters were right next to it, trying to listen to what the grown-ups were talking about. What are they saying? Asked Lana, stinging her against wood. Shh, hissed Lewin. We can't hissed Lewin. We can't hear if you talk. Shh, we can't hear anything if you're telling her to shut it, said Lola. Don't you say that. We can't hear anything if you keep talking, complained Lynn. Guys, you better keep it down, or, said Lincoln. Shut up, yelled all his sisters, turning to look at him. At that moment, the door opened, revealing their parents. Not surprised at all to find the girls trying to eavesdrop. They stayed paralyzed for an instant before smiling and adopting casual poses. They thought they were getting some kind of lecture. Mr. Aldberry said, "Girls, say goodbye to Lincoln," he finally said. "Lori, take them home." What? They barely said in unison, but we barely entered here. We don't even know how he is. It's too soon. I want to say with Lincoln, silence! Silence! Oh my god, it just... silence. Imagine him being like, silence! Sorry, I don't know why I said that 40 times, but whatever. They were all taken aback by their father's yell. He raised a hand to his head, massaging his temples. Girls, tomorrow's a school day and it's getting late. Go home, have dinner, and go to sleep early. Your mother and I will stay here. Lori, take them home. But Dad, take them home. It had been a while since Lori saw her father this nervous. He seemed to be restraining himself not to yell at them, which was really worrying. What did the doctor say? Why could he be like this? As much as she wanted to stay right next to her brother until they were 100% totally sure he was okay, she knew right away that argument only makes it worse. Come on, guys, say goodbye to Lincoln. With Lori surrendering, the rest of the sisters looked down defeated. One by one, they said goodbye to Lincoln, hugging him, giving him a peck on the cheek, and wishing him the best. He told them that everything was going to be okay with a big smile on his face. A minute later, Lori leaded her sisters to the hospital parking lot. They entered the van, not even thinking about what to see each one of them occupied. As she was checking Lou's seatbelt, Lori silently prayed for her little brother to be okay. Back in the room, Miss Loud was trying to calm down her husband. Maybe I was too harsh on them, he was saying. Don't worry, dear. They know we're anxious too. I'm so sorry about this whole situation, said the doctor, but I think it was better to talk with you first. He went close to one apparatus on the wall. Lincoln thought it seemed like any other light screen. He remembered watching shows and movies where the doctors used them to see radiographies more clearly. We still don't have the blood tests, but we do have the CT scan, he said without looking at Lincoln or his parents. hand?" asked Miss Loud. The doctor, just as Lincoln thought, puts the CT against the screen. He didn't really know what he was looking at. A lot of blurred marks and some white spots here and there. Maybe there were about 6 white spots, all pretty small. He then realized the blurred outline was the shape of his head from an up view. The doctor contemplated his and his parents' reaction without saying anything. It seemed like he was expecting them to understand without having to explain it. Lincoln certainly didn't get it, but his parents seemed to. Is that no? Could it be? Says Fred, looking incredulous at the screen. No. Repeated his mother, covering her mouth with her hands. Lincoln started to worry. Her mother worked in a medical institution. Yes, it was a dentist's office, but that enabled her to read radioactive strike. Why did she look so shocked? Mom? He called her, but she was lost in the sight before her, repeating the same word over and over again. No. Dad, what is it? What's that? What do I have? Seeing that the boys' parents were in a safe shot, the doctor slowly stepped closer to Lincoln. He bent until he was at eye level with him and tentatively put a hand on his shoulder. He opened his mouth to say something, but he was clearly looking for the right words to say. He finally took a deep breath and looked him in the eyes. "I'm sorry, Lincoln." Bro. Jesus Christmas. That's not good, dude. Oh my god. Okay, well, you guys know I have to leave you off. Honestly, you really don't even have to wait for the next video. If you really want to know what happens, I mean, you can probably guess. Just go to Requiem for Loud and read it yourself. You don't have to wait for me to do it. Unless you like my reading, which, thank you if you do like my reading. But anyway, thank you guys for 1,000 again, and, I'll probably release another video on this, like, tomorrow or something. So, we'll see. Thank you again, and bye.